because I mean, we're going to get into AI in a second, but I used AI to create my logos from Operation Far. So many things that I would hire out to do that you don't have to now, or if you know how to ask it, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but because you put me to shame.
There were a couple things that happened that exposed me to it early, like in high school. We got My parents got tickets somehow, I think through like a school auction or something, to go to Total Request Live, the MTV show at MTV in Times Square. It was the heyday of MTV, when there were like thousands of kids or hundreds of kids outside on the streets screaming for the music celebrity in the studio. And like I got to go see that in high school. And so that was a cool thing to see that happen. And later in my career, I actually produced a show in that same studio, which was pretty cool.
And that's what, thinking back, I mean, with phones and everything else we have today, the amount of video kids who do it, and they don't understand that, I got away with murder because there was no phones at the time that you take pictures the
Yeah.
way we do now, and there was no evidence of it. Where now, we caught our kids stupid stuff they put on Instagram and stuff when it's like, come on, really? Yeah, I can talk to a camera all day long, and now it's in front of me all day long. I talk to it, and it's a totally different world. And I see that with what AI is doing. A lot of people go, well, 30% of the jobs aren't going to be here. Yeah, well, that's how trappers felt when they no longer needed their pelts and everything else, and there was other things they could work on.
ChatGPT was just, I could tell right away it was a powerful, cool new technology, and I've always been somewhat of an early adopter, especially because my job requires me to know what tech is coming, you know what I mean? And always kind of has, whether it was a new, the shift from um, analog to digital, or everyone getting cell phones, or,
Right.
the DSLR revolution, or whatever it was. Um, AI was just another thing at first, but then it was like, oh wow, this is an incredible tool. And this really quickly, playing around with MidJourney, it became apparent that it was going to change my industry, the video and television industry, because I could generate cinematic looking imagery.
Or do you think it will get to a point where people are like, okay, that's AI. I want to see real people or real images?
I think the amount of AI stuff that we'll watch is going to increase and increase and increase, and represent a much higher percentage in years to come. It'll become watchable soon enough and part of what we watch. But there will be strictly AI stuff, there'll be hybrid stuff, and there'll be human made stuff. And I think that's healthy. Like I can tell a story about my ancestor from the 1800s, or the first artist from 40,000 years ago.
And when you mean a camera can't take it, because there's no way to record it now, or because that person might not be here, or whatever you're trying. Is that what you mean by that? But for your industry, what you're doing, it's almost like when CGI came out for movies, right?
Yeah. And so for $200 a month, that's a steal for someone in the video industry.
So, I mean, because it allows you to do things like you talked about that you could never do before. Like if you're trying to create, you have these characters from, to be able, because before they'd have to do all the programming for that in order to create certain things in the computer world, and as a game or whatever. But you can now turn into a story by using AI and creating those characters, or however you're trying to do it, and do the whole story, which is something you probably were like, I never thought this would ever be able to do that.
It's amazing, powerful stuff, and just a cool new world where I can make a tool without knowing how to code, or ever having made the ability to make a tool before, let alone a couple hundred. I find it a lot of fun.
And if you
Just
want to code, that's okay. You can just tell it to code for you, because
Yeah.